Hi, it's me again, and welcome to my channel. If you like my content, please subscribe and like and share. I really appreciate this. I really hope to keep building this channel and keep helping the people who are in different situation and feeling that they need to understand themselves and understand their mental health. So let's continue. So after I had my assessment and other crisis team, they came over for few days and they were like asking me all these questions and be like, oh, are you willing to do this? Are you willing to seek for more help? Are you willing to go counseling? Do you understand what? And I'm like, I do not understand because I'm not really familiar to what's going on. So for me, I was like, I just need to understand what this is. And from that moment, because I was really depressed, and because it's like you just end your relationship, your children are like, you feel like your children disturbing your mind and everything else. It's like your emotions, you don't understand it. And it's like I wasn't really healing. Every time I had a baby, it meant I was like getting post postnatal depression. But because it wasn't being picked up, it became so severe. So after having my son, it just erupted. Everything just erupted. And with my health issues and the dad's behavior and everything else, it's like my mind couldn't take it anymore. And I was like lashing out and everything was horrible. So after few times of crisis team assessment, they put a social worker. And once the social worker was put on the thingy, they end up communicate with my doctors. My doctor, by then, they were like trying to have me admitted because my heart was like a little bit stopping and need to be examined properly. So it was like chaotic situation. So at that moment, they thought the children were at really high risk staying with me. And I had to agree with that because I wasn't well enough to look after three young children, especially when you had like a C-section. You have three young children who rely on you. You have one who is just starting preschool, and then you have another one who is still on diapers. They were all on diapers, all still on bottles, and it's like it was too hard. And I know, no judgment, because sometimes we feel like if we have kids, the man's going to be loyal, the man's going to stay, it's going to be this. But no, that's not the point. Men will do what men like to do. So the social worker decided to have the children removed so I can focus on my recovery. And that was the initial understanding in agreements that we had to agree that yes, because I have no family member who can support me on daily basic. My children have to be looked after and I need to rest. I need to have all this medication, all these things done. And by then I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety and all that. So I was in like in severe, like really hardcore of medication that I was taking. So it wasn't really safe for me to look after an infant and everybody else. And I needed that. I think I need that time to breathe. I need that time to heal. I need that time to just recuperate. But then while we were we agree on this, on verbal agreements with the social worker and crisis team and all that, a short time arrangement that they are going to look after the children while I get better. The social worker end up changing their minds after they took the children. And the first thing I got, I didn't hear anything fast for the whole week. Don't know where my children were, didn't get any information. And I'm already like depressed. I've already have anxiety. I have a lot of these health issues. I have a heart problem. And not to know where your children are, and you can't communicate with anyone because it was like bank holiday and stuff. It was a brutal experience. And just like that, they end up, after a week, they send me a letter saying that you need to find a to sign this document because your children are going to be placed on foster care and we are seeking permanent removal. And I was like, what? So I came to you to seek help because I am unwell. And now you are kind of like punishing me for that. I was really heartbroken. I didn't know. I was never in trouble. I was never experienced social worker like that before. I've never experienced anything like that before. This was my first time. And trust me, it broke me into pieces. Pieces, because I thought that what is really going on? What have I done? And I regretted asking for help. But at the same time, I said, no, I'd rather my children being safe than me having them at the moment. But also, what they're doing is not really helping me. So, my friend who was helping me, she was really frustrated because she was like, how come did they just spring this out of nowhere? And I'm like, I do not understand, because it's like they're here to support you and help you. But then now they're changing their mind. They say that they want to remove the children permanently. And because of what reason? They don't have any reasons, because what I explained to them, it's like a proper procedure that if you do not have a family member, if you go, when I went to have my baby, majority of the time my children goes to temporary foster care because I don't have anyone to look after them. And most of the time they end up being sent back home after. So for me, I thought that okay, maybe it's going to be like maybe 3 months, 6 months for me to have all this treatment done, having counseling, have my medication kicks in, and then just like that my children are going to be back. But to start all this process where we had to fight and start not understanding what the social services were doing, I was really, 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 really disappointed by that. And I didn't know where to begin. But this a friend of mine named Mary and her husband, they were really, really supportive. And they had a friend of theirs who they go to the same church. His son is a family lawyer. So he's a lawyer dealing with the case similar to mine. And they talked to his mom, and they were giving the details, and I was sent to him. And when I went there, I explained to him, and I was like, okay. And he was like, so, but why did they do this? Normally, it's like, if you had agreement like this, but I will check things out. And he did. He went and understand the situation and asked me the questions of what's happened. I explained to him, and he said, something is not quite right, but we will follow the thing. Just don't worry. Is you explain, we'll see where this case is going. So for me, that really broke my heart. It really, really frustrated me so much, to the point that I started drinking. I started smoking a lot because I felt numb. I felt like I'm having this medication, I having this issue, but also I have something else on top of this. So how can I come out of this in one piece? And it's like every time I explain to my family, they were like not really getting it. Like, how can you be like that? And talk to my ex, like, no, you can come back and have the kids, it's okay, because it's like you have a thingy parental responsibility, so you can just come over. And he refused. He's like, oh, you wanted this, so you have to deal with that yourself, and this and that, a lot of issue. And for me, I felt so alone, I felt so scared. But then what else can you do? Nothing. So I was attending the counseling meeting, like a group support on changes. I was having one-to-one counseling. I was having multiple help to make sure that my mental health is improved, to make sure that my physical health is also improved. So I took all right precautions. It's like I put things behind me. It's like I was still on this disruptive kind of mood, but I was trying my best to do everything I can to make sure that I go. It's like I overcome that. And to tell you the truth, it took nearly 2 years for me to battling with social services with all this. In the end, the judge ended up being really angry with the system, because he ended up saying that this mother, she shows courage and care for her children. She wanted help. She wanted you to help her. And what did you do? You end up sending her to court, because we had to go to court. You end up sending her here. So what kind of message are you sending to the people who are coming to you to ask for help? And for me, that was the point. I was like, will I be able to ask for help if anything goes wrong again? I was like, no, I'm not, I don't think so. Am I going to be able to share the feeling that I'm feeling? No. And then at the same time, I was like, now I do understand, for the mother and the parents who end up hurting their children, because you have these feelings and you end up thinking that I want help. But then once you go and ask for help, rather than getting help, you get punished, because that was my experience. And after that, I was like following a lot of news on, like on Facebook, of similar situation, the parents who go similar issue. And it's not only me, it seemed it was like a pattern. It's like Once you go for one thing, your children get removed and you lose access with them, and all this stuff end up happening. And that was not helping. It's not helping for the parents to reunite the parents and their children. But with me, the lawyer was really good and the judge was really fair. So the social worker, they were told, because majority of the social work I had, they were really young. They're just like out of uni. They didn't have any experience. They didn't have like children, so they did not understand how a parent should feel. All they care about is the notes that they have on their books, and that's not really enough to say that we have this law, you just need to follow this. You have to have instinct, because parents, as a parents, for me, I think I can sense when my children are okay, when my children are not okay. And I think not only my children, if I see other child on distress, I'll know that this child is unhappy, this child may be ill or something like that. We have this instinct that we end up experience once you become a mother. And I remember one social worker was like, "Oh, why did you have to tell, if you didn't want to lose your children, why did you have to explain everything that you're feeling?" And I was like, "Huh? So was I was I supposed to keep all these to myself, all these feelings, while I see other mother end up like hurting their children, end up really seriously end their children's lives?" I said, no, because I'm human and I know my feelings were not normal to have. And I wanted help. So for you, rather than helping me, you are judging me. I felt so judged and I felt so ashamed because of that. And I swear to myself that I will never, ever, ever put my children in that situation ever again. So ever since, after that, the judge order for the children to be rehabilitated and like starting sending them back home. And it took almost 2 years, my children being away 2 years. My son was, he left when he was like a month and a half, nearly 2 months. He came back, he was walking, so I missed his first step. I missed him sitting down. I missed a lot of milestones. And for me, that the thing that I'm not really going to get back. Although I have pictured the foster parent, they were really lovely people, and they were like, we had like a weekly meeting, so I was having contact with them, but it's not the same. It's like having them small contact, like an hour contact, is not the same. And for me, I still live with that guilt, and I feel like my children still, they have these feelings when I go like to university, when I'm late. They just have these feelings that like is she going to come back and all that. So for me, it was a really difficult lesson, but also it's like I could not avoid that lesson. I could not avoid it, because it wasn't only the mental health that was making me have to seek help for my children to have the uh, been looked after. I was physically unwell. So it means they had to be someone to look after them. And their father wasn't willing to say, okay, I'm going to drop everything and come over and help you, because he thought that I was just doing it for attention. And to tell you the truth, it's like delaying all my pain, delaying my pain, delaying my pain. It made things a little bit difficult, because I end up having like that pain until today. I am still on medication, on several medications with several health issues. But then what can you do? You can't do anything, and you can't rewind the clock back to say, okay, I'm going to redo 2 years of my life with my children. But I'm glad what happened, and that end up making me more resilient. It made me more aware of my surrounding, aware of who I can trust, who I cannot. It's like it's opened my eyes so much to the point is I I know that I have to rely on myself. I have to, and I teach my children this. You have to be together. You need to, you have to have this strong bond where you can help each other when you grow up, because it's like I'm not going to be there forever. So I'm hoping that for anyone who's going through similar issues, either dealing with the social worker, dealing with the social services, dealing with the hospital appointment, or anything else, never give up. Everything have a purpose, and everything have a meaning. And you might not know today you are going through this for what purpose, but trust me, everything will always be clear in the near future. So please stay positive and do not give up, and keep fighting the good fight. Thank you.